Hello and all, welcome to the Galaxy Man Show. I am here with this incredible artist known as Amy Joe. So I'm about to add Amy into the live now and have a chat with Amy about her incredible music. So here is Amy, and yeah, let's add Amy into the live now and have a chat with Amy. Oh, pleased to meet you, Amy. It's such an incredible pleasure having you on the show for tonight. To people that don't know who you are, Amy, if you can give like a bit of backstory about yourself, and then we'll dive right into the questions.
I just got really confused then when you said tonight because obviously in the UK it's
Yeah,
midday.
yeah.
I was like, am I missing something? But no, that makes total sense. Yeah, so thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you having a British accent as well. That's really cool. So I'm Amy Joe. I'm from northwest of England, a little seaside town, and I am a singer-songwriter. There's a little bit of country in there, a little bit of pop. It kind of just it is what it is really with my sound. I kind of just write as much from the heart as I can, and then whatever comes out is I don't try to put too many labels on it with the sound, but there is definitely that country hint in there. And yeah, I've been writing forever and singing forever, and I've just been releasing some songs this year, so it's all going really well. Fingers crossed.
So we'll dive right into the questions now, Amy. So for my very first question, so you've created incredible original songs, and for the first one I'm going to mention is Shoulder Pads. Like, what was it like creating this one, and what's the meaning behind Shoulder Pads?
Shoulder pads is such a strange one because I feel like people hear the title and they're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. But really it's a metaphor for a relationship between two opposites. So I'd sort of noticed that these shoulder pads were making a comeback and everyone was wearing them. And I was like, if that trend from like the 80s can come back around, then, you can take a chance on anything. Anything could happen. So it's kind of a metaphor for an opposites attract relationship, which was also inspired by a film I'd seen called After. So
On to my very next question. So you've also created an original song called February 14th, which is an
mhm.
incredible title, by the way. Like, what was it like creating February 14th? And what's the meaning behind this one?
So yeah, February 14th is obviously Valentine's Day, and I just feel like that day brings up a range of emotions for everyone. No matter what situation you're in, it could be a really happy relationship, and then of course it brings up happy emotion, but it could be that you've broken up with someone and or that you're just going on a date and you're not really sure if they like you. There's just so many scenarios that could happen on that one day. So I wanted to write a song that kind of encapsulated that and also show different people's scenarios. So there's obviously like the story about the old couple, one of them's ill, and then there's three different stories, and then there's my story, which at the time of writing, I'd very recently at that time come out of a quite a long-term relationship, so it was kind of me grappling with being on my own for that Valentine's Day. And yeah, it's one of those songs that I'm hoping can come back around each Valentine's Day, a bit like a Christmas song, and just keep playing it every Valentine's Day. But yeah, that's kind of what inspired that.
So on to my very next question. So you've also created an original song called Coming Close. What was it like creating
Mhm.
this one, and what's the meaning behind Coming Close?
So Coming Close was actually a co-write. So the other two I'd written on my own, but this one was a co-write with an amazing songwriter called Grant Black, and he had this idea of the silver medal, and I just loved that because I think everyone can relate to coming second or runner up or just missing out on that job opportunity or that relationship. And I just resonated with it, to be honest. And we wrote it over COVID, so a little bit like we're doing now. We were sat with guitars and writing the song, and yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's my first sort of co-write that's been like released, so that was a great experience for me, and I'd like to do more of those. But yeah, essentially it's just about being the runner up and how that feels, and sometimes it's not a nice feeling. And I just wanted to write a vulnerable song that sort of reflected that idea.
So on to my very next question. So what made you decide as a person, and especially as an artist, to get into singing in the first place?
Um, So I've always been a singer. Since I was about 8 or 9, I've always been singing, and that's always just been sort of my thing. But songwriting came much later when I was about 12 or 13. And my best friend, she came over, she showed me a few chords on guitar. We were massive fans of Taylor Swift. I think every teenage girl was at the time. And she kind of was the first person, Taylor, that sort of showed me that I could write songs and I could do that. And so we learned a few chords, and then I wrote my first song that night when she left. Wasn't very good. It wasn't my best one. Although my friend still really likes that song. I think it's more the nostalgia and the sentimentality behind it, but it wasn't a very good song. But that's what started it all, sort of getting into country music, getting into storytelling, my friend teaching me some chords, and then it all just spiraled from there.
So on to my very next question. So what does performing music like mean to you? Like especially as an artist, like when you're performing in front of crowds, like what does it mean to you?
Um, it means a lot because when you're writing songs, you literally pour your heart and soul into them. Like it's everything. It's how you feel. It's a point in your life. It's a point in time, and it's like a snapshot of that. And that's quite a vulnerable thing to do. I'm also, as a person, I'm quite good with my emotions. I don't tend to like show them too much. When it comes to songwriting, that's where it all comes out. So for me, it's quite vulnerable and it's quite scary sometimes, because I'm letting people know like my truest thoughts and how I feel. But when people receive it well and relate to it and resonate with it, it makes all of that worth it. And I think, yeah, people resonating with songs and my music, especially, means everything to me because I don't think I'd do it. I don't think I would songwrite for myself, but I wouldn't put it out there if people didn't resonate. And I think the fact that they do just makes me feel less alone in how I feel. It's sort of like a therapy session for everyone. That's how it feels.
So on to my very next question. So what is your all-time favorite cover song to perform and why?
Yeah, that's a tricky one because I love music. I mean, I hardly ever listen to my own, to be honest. I don't really listen to my music. I'm constantly listening to artists, and I love so many genres. I love country, I love pop, I love R&B, I love Motown. I love everything. Um, for me to sing, I'm probably going to go with maybe Spoiled by Joss Stone, which I used to sing at competitions. That was sort of one of my singing competition go-to songs. And also Warwick Avenue by Duffy. That was the first song I really sang for an audience. So that kind of kick-started everything. So it just feels quite sentimental whenever I hear that song or sing that song.
So on to my very next question. So if you could work with any top three music artists in the music industry, who do you think you would want to work with and why?
I feel like this answer is going to surprise people when they hear my music and then they hear this artist's music, but I'm going to say Eminem because I was a huge Eminem fan growing up, and I just think lyrically he's so talented. Like his lyricism is incredible, and I really appreciate that in songwriters. And it doesn't matter what genre it is, as long as that lyric is incredible, then I'm all for it. And I just think that would be a great collaboration. So I would love to do that. I don't think I'd be cool enough for Eminem, but we can dream. I'd also maybe like to collaborate with someone like Carly Pierce or maybe Ashley Cook or Kelsey Ballerini, those sort of like country artists who are just killing it at the moment and they're incredible. And girl power. I just think that would be a cool collaboration. And then who else? Maybe Elton John, which is such a cliche, but again, just one of the most incredible songwriters of all time. And yeah, that would just be an honor. So maybe those three are my top three collaborators. Yeah.
So on to my very next question. So if you could go anywhere on tour, taking music to any place, any country in the world, like where would you want to go to and why?
America. And I'm not just saying that. um, I I love Nashville because I feel like every time someone says America and Nashville, it's like, oh, cliche country music. But from someone from the UK, I do genuinely love Nashville. and America and that whole feel of the country music world. I've never been, so I'm just purely going off what I've seen online and in the media. But yeah, it's a cliche, and I'm not just saying it. I do really want to go to Nashville, and I would really like to play for audiences in Nashville. I think there's the Opry, you know, there's the Ryman, there's just so much history. There's the Taylor Swift Museum. I mean, who doesn't want to go there? There's just the fashion I love. The people seem like down to earth and like kind, and from what I've seen. So I think America, specifically Nashville, and maybe New York as well, just because I want to see all the bright lights, and I want to perform one day in Times Square. Like, how amazing would that be? I mean, that is the ultimate dream. So yeah, New York and Nashville, I'm gonna say.
I love that. So on to my very next question. So if what advice would you give to upcoming artists that want to get into music, and yeah, what advice would you give them?
I would say I've learned a lot over the years, and I feel a lot more qualified to answer this question now than I did a few years ago. I think it's, again, a cliche, but staying true to who you are. My mum's always said this to me, and sometimes it would just go over my head, if I'm honest with you. And the peer pressure and societal pressures that you feel growing up can sort of dampen your spirit and who you really are. And I think over COVID was the time when I really got to know myself, and I was comfortable with it for the first time. And I was like, you know what, this is me, and I would rather be that and only have a smaller amount of fans for whatever reason than be something I'm not and have loads. It was just one of those things where I was like, I'm happy to be me, and I want to be me. And again, that takes a long time to realize. But I think once you find out who you are, what you want to say and what your sound is, stick with it, because it's special when you're yourself, because there's no one else like you. And I know people say that all the time, but it's true. There is no one like you if you are your true self. And I think if anyone's looking to be unique in this industry, I think whatever yourself is going to be unique because it's you. So staying true to yourself, and also being patient, because it's such a long journey. And I mean, it can be different for other people, but for me, it's been quite a long journey, and I've actually loved every minute of it. I've loved that it's not the destination for me. It's all the little things along the way. It's all the cool little things that I get to do. Like even just chatting with you now, like that's something that I'm just like so grateful for, and I'm excited about that. And I think sometimes we get too caught up on the destination and not enjoy all that journey there. And I think my biggest advice would be to just let it all sink in. It will all happen eventually in the way it's meant to, and just enjoy the ride, really.
So on to my very next question. So if now Amy could talk to younger Amy, looking back over your time in the music industry, like what advice would you give to your younger self, and why?
Kind of follows on a little bit from that, but I would say obviously stay true to who you are. So don't get sideswept. Don't look what everyone else is doing. Don't see anything as a competition. It's just you on your journey and you alone. And stop looking left and right. Just do your thing. I would also say I would be kinder to myself, because I think as artists we can be a little bit self-critical, and we can be harmful to ourselves. And I think sometimes the most cruel words we hear are the ones that we say to ourselves, not from other people. And I would be kinder to myself, and I'd allow myself to grow and nurture, and not be in such a rush to improve. I've always had a little bit of I'm not going to say negative or a toxic mindset, but I've always been very into sort of self-improvement, and I've always wanted to be the best version of me. And I think sometimes that can lead you to being a perfectionist and being critical of yourself. And I would just be a bit kinder to myself, and just let myself grow in the time that it takes, and not rush the process.
So on to my very next question. So what are like the positive and negative side into the whole music industry, and how do you get through those like negative moments as an artist?
I would say there are definitely more positives than negatives, because like I say, I love music and I love what I'm doing, and I genuinely enjoy every step of it. Negatives, just another one on the positives. Also, I do like the fact that it's not really like a 9 to 5, in the sense that it's a 24/7 job, and that has that has positives and negatives. I love that because I'm a little bit, I love working and I love working on projects. So I enjoy doing that at 10 o'clock at night and just working on a song or whatever. But sometimes it would be nice to have more structure. And I think that's something that you get the more you progress into music, and you get a little bit more structure with every song, with every release and that kind of thing. But yeah, it can be a 24/7 job, and it can be quite grueling and really tiring. But again, that's kind of cancelled out by the fact that it's also really fun. So the negative isn't really a negative, it's also a positive. I can't think of many more negatives. No, I'm just enjoying all of it, to be honest.
So on to my very last question for you, Amy. So like, what's next for you for like the rest of 2023 onwards? Like anything that you'd like to announce on the show?
Okay, so yeah, I have a few gigs coming up. I'm performing in Settle in England, 20th of May, which will be really fun. It's actually in the oldest music hall in the world, this venue. So I'm really intrigued. I want to see if it's dusty across the walls. That's going to be really fun. And also releasing more songs. That's definitely something that I'm prioritizing, for releasing a lot, because I have so many songs and I just want to get them out there, and I want people to hopefully relate to them. So I'm prioritizing that. Also festivals. I'm applying for festivals this week, which is exciting. And then also I graduate this summer. So I finish my degree in May. So I'm very excited about that. And I'm just going to have a lovely summer for a week or two, just sort of reading in the garden. That's kind of my plan, because I just want to chill for just 2 weeks and then straight back into music again. So that's the plan.
So, well, thank you so much, Amy. It has been such an incredible pleasure having you on the show. Everyone, definitely go support Amy. More inspiring artists like Amy in this world. You have such an incredible career ahead of yourself. You really do, Amy. So on to the last final thoughts. Final thoughts, like anything that you'd like to share to people on the show.
I'd like to share. I guess just have a great day, a great week, a great month, a great year. Yeah, I would say stay positive, stay happy. Thank you for supporting this cool podcast as well, and all the other. I've been watching all your videos of all the other musicians you've had on, and I found it so inspiring myself. So it's awesome that you're doing that, and it's awesome that I'm getting to like discover artists through you. There's a few that I've discovered through you that I really, really enjoy. So thank you for that. Yeah, so thanks for supporting the podcast, and thanks for watching this. And also, yeah, I hope you all have a great day, and thank you.
Messy brown hair, black tattoos, driving in daddy's jet. Chain round your neck, beat up shoes, and a pocket full of swag. Like you wrote the book, only took one look to know your bad news. I know it's wrong, but that won't stop me entertaining you. This shouldn't work, but you're the right kind of wrong, two different words. So I'll play along, you're the heart into my Tesla. So I'll cut you some slack, 'cause even shoulder pads are making a comeback. Long blonde hair, I don't swear, and I haven't pierced my ears. A squeaky clean prom queen is folded by my peers. Opposites attract, maybe that's a fact from where I'm staying. I'm willing to take a chance and mess all that up. This shouldn't work, but you're the right kind of wrong, two different rules. So I'll play but you're the right kind of wrong, two different worlds. So I'll play along, you're the heart into my test side. So I'll cut you some slack. Cause even shoulder pads are making a comeback. Messy brown hair, black tattoos, driving in daddy's jet. Chain round your neck, beat up shoes, and a pocket full of swag. Like you wrote the book, only took one look to know your bad news. I know it's wrong, but that won't stop me entertaining you. This shouldn't work.
Yeah, music video. No one came to our birthday party, so we've arranged a music video for her.